November is the season of case studies. Today I'm going to be taking a look at examiner reports from real case study exams to identify the biggest mistakes that students make. And if you ask this in your case study, then I thoroughly recommend you check this out, as they're very beneficial to identify areas that you need to focus on, but also on areas that you need to avoid. So we're going to go in straight to point number one, and that is that students are ill prepared for their case study exam. And what this basically means is students are turning up for the exams without the required amount of knowledge that is needed to pass that exam. And the way to avoid being ill prepared is to make sure you put in the time and you implement a structure and a strategy for your revision to ensure that you allocate a substantial amount of time to each area of your exam, whether that be the theory, whether that be writing and understanding how to answer the question, whether that be understanding the case study. If you can get a consistent basis across all three of those, then it will give you the best opportunity for being prepared when you go into your exam. In at number two, probably the biggest mistake that I remember people used to make when I was doing my case study, and that is the lack of application. It is very easy for you to make a point in your exam. Let's say, for example, company A need to improve their profit by 20%. But how can you apply that to the business and the industry that that company is in? How are they going to make that profit of 20%? What activities will they be doing to generate that profit? If you are unable to apply your answer to the case study, to the industry, to general business, then you're going to fail to score marks because you've made a point but you've not been able to back it up with any reasonable and substantial argument. Application is critical when it comes to your case study exam, and it is key that if you ever make a point within your exam, then make sure you apply it to something that is relevant for that particular point. The third one I come across is that some students are missing elements of the question. And essentially this to me again links back to the first point, which they are ill prepared. You're more likely to miss elements of the question if you simply do not know the answer to that question. If you know the answer to that question, you're going to be writing away. But if you don't, you're more likely going to avoid it. And you're going to try and somehow wing it. Again, same applies. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure you read the question properly. And make sure in your head, a last minute check for each exam question and constantly going over your mind throughout your exam is, am I answering the question? And that's the Astranti Bell. Astranti are an online tuition provider who offer full-length CIMA courses, revision material and mock exams. You will have access to free certificate level material and one free mock per exam thereafter. On top of that, there is an online library full of paid material which you can access to help you progress through your CIMA qualification. All you need to do is sign up using my referral link below. In advance, if you do choose to use my link, I do just want to send out a massive thank you for doing so. But enough of that, back to the video. And in at number four, there is a lack of depth when it comes to exam answers. And a lack of depth within the answer again shows that the candidate does not have the required skill to be able to drill down into that topic and pull out a substantial amount of marks and points by discussing that topic, providing a well-weighted argument, and then giving a conclusion at the end of it. Chances are these students were producing wishy-washy answers. You need to have substantial knowledge so you can drill down into the question, evaluate the pros and cons, the advantages, the disadvantages, the opportunity X, the opportunity Y, and provide statements showing that you understand the topic and that you understand the issue that the business is facing, which means you will have the ability to create a detailed, well-structured argument which will enable you to come to a highly effective conclusion. And that leads on well to my next point, which is students demonstrate a lack of conviction. When marking the exam questions, examiners are looking to be told what your recommendations are. And a lot of students may weigh the pros and cons of a particular question, but then they won't give their recommendation at the end to why that company should do X instead of Y. And the end of each question is summarizing what you've said and what this means for the business, and giving some conviction into your answer and telling the examiner that you know exactly what you're talking about and that that is a fantastic direction for the company to go in. Simply having a light-hearted, wishy-washy answer will not demonstrate that your confidence in your ability and your confidence in what you are actually writing about. And then last but not least, probably one of the biggest mistakes, and that is rote learning. During your studies, how many times have you known people say that they have learned a model answer for a question? Well, unfortunately, when it comes to an exam, these type of answers are obvious. Usually students will remember a model answer, and the moment it comes up, they'll recite that model answer down on paper because they've learned it by absolute memory. The problem with that is you will miss out on your application and you will miss out on answering the question that you're being asked. You're getting all your thoughts down onto paper, which you may think is effective, but actually it is very ineffective because the examiners are looking for application to their exam question, the business, the industry. They're looking for a well-detailed analysis on the situation that you have at hand, and they're looking for a recommendation. Simply reciting your knowledge down on paper will stand out like a sore thumb. So it's important that you know the content well enough, but don't recite exam answers, and be comfortable with being flexible in the exam and changing what your answer is based on the question and what that question is actually asking you. Now, I hope you found some value in that today. They're the 6 common mistakes that I have come across when looking into the examiner's reports. That is all for me today. I hope you look forward to the next one. But until then, goodbye.